I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everybody to the school board meeting, and thank you so much, Homeling, for hosting us here. We're excited to be here, really excited for what you have in store for us. So thank you for that. And with that, I'm going to,
Mr. Chairman,
what's that?
I would like to make an amendment to the agenda and remove 4210 for the next meeting out of the consent agenda. Because I would like to have, after reading it, I would like to have on the, have it in there that we can use the school for hunter safety. And that's removing dangerous weapons or regulations of dangerous weapons on school property. So I'm working with the Department of Fish and Wildlife to do that, but I would move that we remove that 4210 regulation of dangerous weapons from the consent agenda.
Okay.
If that's
Do
okay.
we need a motion for that? Or is that just, okay,
So I made that motion.
okay.
Then we can proceed.
All in favor of moving 4210 to the next meeting, say aye. Aye. Aye, all right,
Thank you.
it's moved. Okay,
Sorry to interrupt.
nope, thank you for that. Let's go to the to the Brennan,
Go first.
Brennan report.
Don't forget.
Enrollment bounced back up, which was really nice. So we were seeing a decline from the start of the year till now, but it jumped back up till February's numbers. So we're still above budget, so that's good. And then in the financial world, we are in full motion for next year's budget. This is probably the first year, 5 years I've been here, that we haven't had a ton of hiring. So that's been really nice on our staff and principals and stuff, so we're in good shape for next year.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, good evening. Nice to see you. Hope you all had a nice weekend. Thanks, Home Week, for hosting this evening. I'm looking forward to hearing from you all and Kristen Heitkamp and Troy from CTE. So we've got some great presentations and information for this evening. Just a few updates before I hand it over to Troy for CTE update. We've been talking about the willful non-compliance WAC that is out there and open for public comment right now. I'm just continuously learning a little bit more about that. OSPI is implementing the laws that they were set forth to do in accordance with the timelines. So that's why they're continuing with this process regardless of what happens on the ballot in November. So some of the messages that I've been hearing in terms of the willful non-compliance WAC that's out there is that potentially OSPI is overreaching their scope with their process that they've outlined. They've been asked to establish a process, but then if you actually read the WAC that they have established, I'm not sure that that's, some of the folks would say that that's not within OSPI's reach and parameters to do so. That the definitions of some of the words that are used are not fully defined, right? What is willful? What non-compliance? What does that mean? What does purposeful mean? Some of those pieces. And then the other thing that is in that WAC and some feedback that they have received to make sure that the investigation is just on the merit of that complaint, because oftentimes what happens is then a complaint will follow its process and other complaints will be added to it to just make sure that OSPI is very clear that they're addressing that specific concern of complaint. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Because sometimes after it's gone through the process, there will be more wrapped in and just to stay focused. But I do want to be clear, and what I understand is that it doesn't change the laws already in place. So if people want laws to be changed, that's a different process, not this one. Also, I just wanted to thank Eric and Rebecca for attending the community forum last Wednesday evening. It was great. It went into the evening a bit, but it was really great to be able to spend time with folks. Barb, it was nice to have you there. If there's anybody else from the audience that was out there that was there, but I think it was another great beneficial evening just to lean in, listen, validate, and let the community know that their voices are heard. So just wanted to thank you for that opportunity and thank you for coming. And that is all I have. So I'm going to turn it over to Troy, who's going to give an update on CTE. There we go.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Troy. If you don't know me, I'm Troy Hewitt, principal at Deer Park High School. And in my role, I'm also our CT director for the school district as well. So each year, I come before the board and kind of do a quick update in regards to what's been going on in our programs. Our CT programs continue to be kind of the heart of our school, if I'm honest, in regards to the number of kids and the different things that are going on in all of our programs. So we're alive and well in our programs. One of the biggest changes this year was Austin Miller was hired to be our new shop teacher. And so that was a big move for us after Mr. Kernan had been in our school district for many years and did a tremendous job and had a lot of community connections. And I was a little worried when he said he was retiring. He was actually following through with that, and we didn't quite know who was out there to be the next person. And so we really lucked out in getting Austin in. It's been a very smooth transition. The kids love him, and our program continues to move right along. And still, he's working now to build those community connections as well. Along with that, what was nice is that he also brings with him an FFA background, and so which was great, and that's one thing that was kind of asked of us as we look to hire because of the different events and a variety of things that go on with FFA. Erica Whitmore, our current FFA coordinator, she kind of needed some help in regards to those pieces, so it was nice because we were able to fill both situations with that. Here's just a brochure that Erica and their folks and everybody in their program put together. Just some highlights from this year. When it says 107 unduplicated students, it means 107 kids in her classes in our school taking her courses. And with that, we articulate pretty much every class that she teaches at the school is articulated with the college. That means that the students are also earning college credit by taking her classes, which is really cool and a great opportunity. And also, I'm going to talk a little more here about DECA. And Tiffany Bogle has now, starting this year, we just got approved for the articulations as well for a majority of her classes as well, which is a nice thing. So we have lots of college credit going out with our kids. We have 63 students with supervised agriculture experiences. Those are kind of experiences that are outside of the school day, managing different projects and things at their houses, working with animals and a variety of different things like that. We currently have 63 FFA members as part of it. We have one student who's a district officer, and then at the state level, we have 8 kids working within the organization. Erica was named the Outstanding District 5 teacher, and so she's going to be getting an award. I don't know, she goes to so many things all the time. I don't know where she's getting the award, but she's going to get the award somewhere.
But you're going to be with her.
What's that?
You're going to be with her because you're getting one as well?
Yeah, I was gonna pass that up, but I guess when I work as close with Eric as I do, I think that's the main reason they gave me that award. So
You have to put up with her.
So yeah, so I have her to thank for that. And then we have kids always competing at the state events. 56 kids this year competed at events, and up here you can kind of know it's kind of small to see, but we've placed in a variety of those events. This is always the tough balance in running these programs, is because we want to offer all these different things for the kids to be able to go do and get them away from school, because it's a good piece, but then also they're away from school, as well as our teachers as well. So it's that tough balancing act that we have of how many things that we're being involved in school, as far as keeping the kids in the classes, but also offering out these opportunities away from school when it comes to that. We have this year we have 6 students who are earning their American degrees, which is the highest honor within FFA, and that's up from 3 last year, and we have 3 state degrees this year as well. So, thanks, Eli. These are just some pictures. This is our kids serving food and taking care of folks at an Evergreen Leadership event that we hosted at the high school. That's another nice thing, is we have a beautiful building that's well set up to host a variety of these events as well. And Erica tends to be one of, it's one of the things we look for in teachers is that we don't just hire teachers, we hire teacher leaders. I didn't hire Erica, she's here before me, but that's the example of what we're looking for, the folks that are up leading these organizations as we bring folks into our building. Again, just more opportunities. These pictures show our kids out in the community, working with younger kids, working at different events. We've had way more opportunities between DECA and our FFA programs where we've actually been bringing people in to have our kids present to them in regards to all the cool things that they're getting to be a part of on a regular basis. So that's just a picture of, multiple pictures of those events that are going on. And again, this is a big push in our school, not only with CT, but in general, to get students out and away from the classroom as much as we possibly can. Because we've kind of gone away from that in education, if we're being honest. I remember being a lot of field trips when I was growing up and going out and experiencing a lot of things, and then we kind of sucked back into just being in the building all the time. Now we're really working on that post-secondary piece, offering a variety of those opportunities for students. And again, this is an opportunity through Beef Northwest, the cattle lot feed place. And so she took them and set them up with a tour and went out and visited that location. That's one example of that. And then our greenhouse is alive and well. So Erica's got that going. We actually have our plant sale coming up around Mother's Day time. So if you'd be looking for that as well. Everything's starting to grow in there like crazy, and they're definitely utilizing the greenhouse. All right, so we're going to move on to our DECA program. And Tiffany Bogle sent me a little blurb that kind of gives a quick synopsis of their year. She says, DECA has had a busy and successful year thus far. We have 5 student stores at our school. Okay? Not just one, but we have 5 going on. Let's see, 5 student stores, all fall and winter concessions. They take care of all that. Numerous community and school outreaches, food drive, veteran appreciation, 40 acts of kindness, faculty appreciation, and cafeteria cleanup. They met with our mayor and officially got, only Tiffany would do this, she got November deemed DECA month for the city of Deer Park. Not many people can get that done.
That's awesome.
And giving back to the community and serving hundreds of families with DECA's Night at the North Pole. Hopefully folks have been a part of that. It's a really cool event for our younger kids in the community. Attending professional development conferences and continuing our tradition of high-level competitive individuals and teams. We have a lot to be proud of in DECA. And so they're actually, right now, there's 9 of our students that are competing in internationals, not just nationals, at the international event in Atlanta, Georgia right now. So they're gone, I think, till Wednesday. So that group's doing that. So we run Jitterbugs, Stag Prints, DP Customs, Stag Box, and Very Bendy. Those are the different stores that we currently run. Again, they've been to multiple conferences. Another piece that Erica or Tiffany, they used to go across the state and go to other places to kind of view different things, and she realized we have a lot of really cool things in downtown Spokane for our kids to be going to. And so she takes them down and they do a tour of the Grand, the Chiefs, the Broadway scene, and she doesn't just take them to, she gets them in behind the scenes of how does that all operate? How does that work on a regular basis, and gets them in. And they actually stay downtown for a couple nights and stay down in that area and do all the behind the scenes of those places. This year, we had 37 students compete at regionals. 27 made it to the state level, and we now have 9 competing at the international level as well. Just recently, we brought in a variety of business owners and city leadership into kind of a tour with our students. They took them through all 5 of the businesses. So that was a really cool event. It was well attended by our community members. Just some general updates. I go to advisory meetings once a month with all the area, Spokane area, regional, other CT advisors in the area, so to kind of keep up with each other and to collaborate and work together on a variety of things. We host advisory meetings with local businesses and vendors and people that help us out, and you're required to do that as part of CTE so that you are keeping up, you're involving the local businesses and everybody, so they keep you up to speed on what's current that's out there on a regular basis. So we do that in the fall and the spring with those folks. We are looking to start a new class that I'm going to try to get through the CTE pathways, and we're going to probably house it under a career choices class. We're not quite big enough to start a full-on new program in CTE, but we're going to start with a new class. And through that, we have an opportunity to potentially, there's a big need out there for youth officiating and officials. And so through that, there's an online program that's easy for, not easy, but it's packaged nice for us. So kids can come in and actually work to get certified to go out and be referees and officials in the community. And then they go to an organization and they work with that, and then they start getting paid right away. So they also could be some great jobs with kids in high school. So we are trying that this year. Our Skills USA with Mr. Miller, he did have 6 kids competing. He's kind of trying to work to build the program as far as him being the new person in with Skills USA in regards to welding programs and things like that. And then they all competed at regionals at SCC this year, all 6 of those students as well. And I think that's about it. Any questions?
Is that officiating things like it start in the fall, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. All my kids did that. Coached or umpired little league games and softball games.
Yeah,
Made a lot of money every spring. So.
Yeah. They pay actually pretty well. So
Yeah.
and also our middle school, the kids could go down and ref and umpire some of our middle school sports and things like that. So.
I just came from a baseball game that Mr. Oletti was umping the 8th grade, so that would be fantastic. I will say my family has benefited from DECA and from FFA, and Sadie is one of those getting American degrees, so it's precious to the heart. We'd love to see the CTE program growing. Mr. Miller has really stepped in and been able to do programs that we didn't have, like potato judging and a couple of those other ones that we didn't have before. So love it, very thankful for that. What is something that, because I hear things, so I want to hear, what is something that FFA and DECA that they need, they've been asking their needs that they don't have, that they haven't been receiving? Is there anything that you can share that?
As far as like financially?
Financially.
We do well financially because they draw so many kids into our program.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, and we get enhanced funding for each of those kids. And we're doing fine in regards to, there's nothing, I bring that up with them all the time, I'm like, you know, Brendan and I, we work on those pieces all the time, and there's nothing they don't have right now that they're saying that they need and that kind of thing. We do have a list, I do have a list of things that we're gonna be ordering right now in regards to.
Big bus. Suburban bus or anything like that to travel to all these competitions is the one thing I've heard, just FYI.
Yeah,
I've heard
that's,
both of them.
yeah, that's more of that's above me.
Right.
Decision as far
Because they
as,
just keep on
as
getting
far
more
as
and
a
more kids,
vehicle
right?
getting purchased, that kind of
Yeah.
thing, that's more of a Brendan
Got it.
question for that. But we do have a list of, you know, to run a really good shop and with how much all that equipment is used on a regular basis. You know, Austin sent me a list the other day of a wish list of here's all the things we need just replaced or updated, that kind of thing, because you know they're used all the time, and they're kids, right? They're gonna break things, and it's gonna. So we're working on getting those for them.
I heard we got a grant for a tractor.
Possibly.
Some of us need a little bit more information before we present it to the board.
Yeah, I didn't really want to talk about that tonight because we just got a potential $40,000 grant through that Austin received, and so now we're trying to figure out what we would use those monies for.
Perfect.
In the process. Yeah.
And if anybody needs any welding done, FYI, the shop does amazing welding.
Yep.
Just saying. That's enough for me.
Yeah, the kids are talented. If you ever want to come by and walk through with me.
When Tiffany got here, my middle daughter was one of the first ones, and then went to Florida that first year when Tiff got here. And now to hear that there's 9, and there's been more than that are going to the national thing, that's just awesome. Because it was an extremely good experience for all my kids.
Yeah, and it's not easy to get to that level. It doesn't just happen. All this happens, I say it all the time, everything we're doing in CT happens because of our teachers.
Yep.
They gotta be the kid magnets that kids wanna follow, and they have to be quality leaders in the work they're doing, so we're pretty lucky.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Troy.
You know, we just finished the profile of a graduate, and then when I went to Tiffany's community engagement opportunity, she invited the local businesses in, and I was thinking about what DECA has to offer by the way of communication, critical thinking, problem solving, being independent, all of those attributes and characteristics that we're looking for students to be when they graduate, but working on that all along the way. I think about both FFA and DECA teaches them a lot of those skills to help them be successful in life beyond high school. So really, thank you, Troy. Much appreciated. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Kristen Jansen, who's going to do a high cap presentation. Moyles, I'm sorry.
Used to be.
My apologies, Doctor Moyles.
Thank you. I know who I am, believe me. Identity crisis. So good evening to the board and welcome to the Clayton campus, by the way, and good evening to my colleagues and guests. Thanks for the opportunity. There we go. To present the school district's highly capable plan for the coming school year, 2026-27. And as you know, 100% of the highly capable program operates on categorical funding, which is not permitted to be carried over from fiscal year to fiscal year. And last April, when you approved this year's school plan, we detailed a targeted and more intentional focus on serving gifted kids within the regular classroom, within the regular school day, which is firmly in line with the WACs and what they require. So practically speaking, this meant that we needed to develop a greater awareness of differentiation strategies that teachers and staff could use in their daily work right away.
I'm just gonna close that for you.
Okay. We committed to curating opportunities for this quality professional development in gifted education with that focus specifically. And I'm pleased to report that Deer Park was very well represented at multiple professional development learning venues, including the State Conference in Bellevue, the Institute for Gifted Education here in Spokane, which is held on Whitworth's campus, and that required 3 days during the teacher's summer in June. And we had 4 or 5 people attending all 3 days. And also throughout the virtual education platforms. So educators brought back this fresh idea, resource, and strategy network to the district to serve our kids and their families. So I'd like to do 3 goals for the coming year and then 3 highlights. The first is continuing that, continued quality professional development for staff, particularly in terms of identification and service. The second is streamlining our referral and identification process so that it's clear and equitable and accurate. We had some data cleanup to do in how Skyward talks to Cedars and how we keep the spreadsheet for all 5 buildings in our district. So big thanks to Anya for that. She was a huge, huge help. Third, creation of a slim district handbook where the terms and the forms and the procedures, appendices, program description, uniformity of services are all clearly defined and very easy to access, not just for staff and buildings, but also for parents and families. And an updated webpage will accompany that. There are many gratifying program developments this year as well, and the highly capable funds that you approved last year are solely responsible for that, so thank you again. I'll briefly highlight 3. First, in recognition of students who may not be able to perform well on academic achievement tests that are very traditional, like iReady and state tests and SBA, the team recommended that adding a kind of assessment called the COGAT, if you're not familiar with that. It measures cognitive ability rather than traditional academic achievement. And that's, again, in line with the new WACs that require us to do uniform identification twice before 6th grade. So the team recommended 2nd grade and 5th grade. All 2nd graders, all 5th graders in the district get the COGAT. And it measures things like problem solving and analogies and patterns and lateral thinking, things that aren't traditional academic achievement tests. But this due diligence really reassured us that we weren't overlooking students who may qualify for and benefit from HiCap services simply because they didn't perform well on traditional academic assessments. And so with that full battery, the SBA, the iReady, the COGAT, we feel much better about that. The second thing, balancing these more spatial thinkers are, of course, our traditional academics, which we have a lovely host of, particularly our 4th, 5th, 6th, and 8th grade math at school teams who placed high enough in local tournaments, in one case first, to earn spots at the state competition in Moses Lake this month and next. So preparing for that, stay tuned. High cap dollars pay for the coaching stipends, the materials, the competition fees, the team registrations, and the travel for these kids who think math is just beautiful. As a language arts gal, I'm like, it's like they do great. I do too. And finally, I'm particularly proud of the success of our very first workshop series for parents that focus on the nature and needs of gifted kids. And while all parents are welcome, the content and the book study of this quarterly series was centered really on the unique challenges of home educating a gifted child. And so that's mainly for our HomeLink parents who have taken on that challenge. Topics included nature and needs of the gifted, special populations like neurodivergence and trans-exceptional students who may have learning challenges as well as giftedness. One masks the other, and it's quite a ball of yarn to untangle. Tailoring individual learning plans to a student's learning style, and then the support needs of families who've chosen to be teacher and parent to their child, which is a really unique as a primary educator. So we started out offering 90 minutes once per quarter, but then parents wrote in and said, could we please have 2 hours? I was like, yeah, sure. So we extended it to 2 hours once per quarter. And I'll close with a few statements from those anonymous feedback surveys, which we sent out after each workshop. I found a lot of helpful things, more than I had anticipated, and the workshop was well developed. In hindsight, I would have paid money to attend this. I am looking at not only my gifted child, but the other one now with wonder. I had never correlated my boys' behaviors with their areas of giftedness. This was an aha moment. Just the affirmation that this is a tough job, homeschooling gifted children, and it's important to give yourself some grace. So good, thank you. Not only will I take time to connect with other parents here, but I also will ensure my time is freed so I can attend the next session. It was so nice to hear from others and stories that made me relate to them. So much support. I forget how I get in a rut, and being with other parents who are doing this too and hearing their stories helps remind me I'm creative and I'm supported. May 5th is the last one if you want to come. Cinco de Mayo. Now, no plan is perfect, and we're always eager for feedback. We're always seeking continuous quality improvement, but we feel really encouraged and pretty confident that the hard work we've done this year has resulted in a program design that meets all the state requirements while incorporating those current best practices that we aim to identify and to serve our highly capable kids, K-12, throughout the district. So I seek a motion tonight to approve the highly capable plan of 26-27 to continue this work, and I thank you so much for your attention and consideration. Happy to answer any questions if you're wondering about anything I've presented.
Is there anything else we can do to help you guys in the program?
Advocacy, I think. Things are changing. There are some updates to the state WAC laws that will be in place very soon. In fact, there's a training this month on that. They're not major changes, but they do affect some of the forms and appeals and processes and things that we're required to disclose or have in place. So I'm in the process of updating all those forms. And so just the community support and the advocacy for the basic ed, gifted ed is basic ed for these kids. And to just continue to support the families and students who are already feeling pretty different.
So is the budget pretty much the same as it was last year? Or?
Why, it's looking like that. It's about 5%.
Thank you.
Kristen?
Thank you.
And I have extras if you're interested in the book studies. I'm happy to give
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Moyle. All right, we've got Gretchen and Eli, and do you want to start with your above and beyond?
Yes.
Okay.
That's special.
Do you want me to grab that?
This is for you.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, do you have my, I have to bring my notes. That's so of course, our staff is incredible at HomeLink, and but I get the privilege of handing out an award tonight, just to a staff member that's gone above and beyond. This staff member often does home visits to families,
I accompanied a staff member to a hospital visit for one of her children this year because the child was in the hospital. In fact, the whole family was there together with the child at the hospital. And homeschooling was happening there, and so we went and visited. But she just does stuff like that, and it's just part of what she does. And I've also seen her just advocate for a lot of her kiddos on her caseload and her families, and she just really takes them on. I think the highlight is she shares her favorite part of the week is Monday morning. There's a student that looks for her every Monday morning and comes flying up to her because she has to give her a hug. And it's just the sweetest thing. And so, Pam, thank you for going up and beyond.
Right, Julia, you have a picture, Pam.
Picture. We're lucky to be with you tonight.
Oh.
You gotta do it. What do you do for kids?
You want to get
Okay, so I got this over.
Thank you, that's good. I told everybody to keep your eyes open, that's the one.
Yeah, sound, right? So you remember the whole thing where
My phone's on silent.
the person goes, where it takes like.
That's why I asked if you're coming today. All right. Well, what an honor it is to get to share with you our Clayton building and all the good work. First of all, the good work that we do at HomeLink, but also all of the exciting things that happen here in Clayton. So I always tell people this building's like something out of a movie, and it's such a blessing to work here. And I love when I'm upstairs and you just get that view, and you guys will get to see that view tonight too. So let's get started. And at the end, we've got like a special thing tonight. We're taking you on a tour in a little bit. At the end of your tour, you'll get to enjoy some treats that have been made by some of our classes here. And there's the lesson and the objectives and things that go along with each of those treats is highlighted here on the table. So make sure you take a look at those. And because they're not just cooking in our cooking classes, there's a whole, there could be a science lesson or an art lesson or something that goes along with a lot of those foods that they prepare. So you'll get to see that tonight too. All right. I love to revisit our mission and vision statement here. And so, as a parent partnership program, HomeLink is dedicated to serving the needs of their families who have chosen to be their children's primary educators. Our goal is to support and not replace the instruction done in the home. We believe that by drawing on the strengths and resources of both the home and the public school, we can offer an education that combines the best of both worlds. We strive to give our best for every family's best. So tonight you'll get to see all of those things that we do to enrich the education that's happening at home. All right, so we're going to focus on our two goals that we've been looking at this year in the Summer School Improvement Plan. So Eli is going to share goal number 1, the work that we're doing.
So I have to say, I was talking with the board earlier, a year ago, I got to meet y'all and got to join this team, and I've been blessed this year to be able to be a part of this, so thank you for the trust, Gretchen, Alexa, the rest of the team. Our goals in our school improvement plan really focus on how to take what looks different than the traditional school and make it work for our program here. So our first goal is deepening community connections by increasing family engagement and enrichment by 10%. Now, we were talking about that, Gretchen and I, and data and family engagement is a really challenging thing, but this year we've started to try and collect data. We've been hounding some of our staff members that run our events.
Thank you, Gina.
Give us some numbers. We talked to all the sort of Barb in the library, all the things about what we can do, and we came up with this lovely, hard to read chart for y'all. Don't worry, I don't expect everybody to memorize this, but the ideas of some that we want to highlight are some things where we actually embedded academics into some non-academic based activities. So our first one here, pumpkin decorating, I'll show you a picture in a second. They created pumpkin and they had to write the history of the person or whatever that is that looked at it. So adding a writing component, we had a 49% increase in participation this year. instead of a decrease. And then our second one, turkey trouble, which was around Thanksgiving, creating a turkey in disguise, and then a story that went along with that, we had a 325% increase in participation in that. So the idea being, our goal of embedding writing into everything we're doing is actually increasing our participation as well. We do have some that came down, so our ornament contest, we dropped 20%. That goes from 65 to 52. That doesn't mean we didn't have a lot of participants, but it's also creating their own ornament and all that sort of stuff. And we could go through all of these sorts of things. Another one I do want to highlight, you'll see our family room, our parent room, our mom's room, depending on who's talking about it. Here, we also have the one at the Deer Park campus. Last year, there was an average of 2 parents per class period in there. Now, keep in mind, secondary, there are less, elementary, there are more, but average of 2. This year, we averaged 7. They're sitting there, they're visiting, they're connecting with each other, building relationships, and then connecting with our staff as they walk through. So just that idea of that parent partnership being welcomed into our building is something that's really cool here. So, STEAM Night this year, huge success. I don't even know the numbers of Paulette. How many did we have of like presenters? Do you remember?
Presenters?
5.
I think we're 50, up 50, what is it?
Oh, people coming from the outside, probably at like 28.
Yeah, 28 or so
staff.
different presenters. People from the Blue Zoo, from Whitworth. There was a brain here. We had Turnbull, Josh from the Turnbull Wildlife Refuge with animal pelts and all sorts of different stuff. Robotics and so many different things. Communities coming in to support our students and give them an exposure to STEAM. We added that A in, STEM being science, technology, engineering, math, the A being arts. And so adding that in this year was a huge priority for our team, Paulette and Mary and Keith. The historical pumpkins, here's what I was talking about. They created pumpkins, so you have people like Amelia Earhart and whatnot, and then they have the story that goes along with it next to it. It's hard to read.
It's not Rushmore.
Yeah, Rushmore, all this sort of stuff. So they had to create that narrative that went along with it to explain it, and that was the increase. Family Game Night is something we do every year historically. It's at Deer Park Middle School. Volleyball classes and our basketball classes then compete. And so we had a ton of fun. The gym was filled. And those are our 2 winning teams, our winning volleyball on the right and our winning basketball on the left. The great story, one of our new students who joined us from Northwest Christian as a student this year was on their basketball team and then showed up there not planning to participate. We had several students not show up. She happened to be in the right place when Kevin was there looking for people. She jumped in, and that team, along with her friend, who wasn't actually a Deer Park Homeland student, took the whole trophy.
They didn't get overtime, and yes,
Yeah,
they
but
won.
just a cool opportunity for our families to connect and that sort of stuff. So family engagement, you see roller skating. There's Josh from Turnbull. Gretchen started with Shannon our caroling, Christmas caroling around the neighborhood near our building. And then some more from our STEAM night as well there. Opportunity Fair was new this year. Instead of having different events, we had one that highlighted dual enrollment, that highlighted Running Start and New Tech, and that's FAFSA. Lisa from Slingshot was there presenting about scholarships and whatnot, building relationships for our secondary students. Huge success that we're going to continue on, I assume, next year.
All right, so goal number 2. We were really inspired this year by the success that we saw with our students on the STA in science. And so we took a look at what is it that we're doing at Home Lake that's getting that science success. And we feel like we have a lot of strong enrichment classes that are science-based. We're offering some great science curriculum to our families. And it's easy to use, so they're doing it at home. And we've got our outdoor ed program, and so of course nights like our STEAM night and things like that. So we need to really start doing that with our language arts and math, and to help increase those scores. Well, we haven't done our SBA yet this year, so we can't tell you if we've met that goal yet. Hopefully in a few months we'll be able to celebrate that. But so some things that we've done this year to really be intentional about working on this goal. In our on-site classes, so those are enrichment classes, we have encouraged our specialists to be intentional about including some reading and writing and math activities, even if it's a kitchen class. So for example, a couple of our kitchen classes have incorporated a recipe journal where after the kids are done with their cooking, they reflect on that recipe and kind of write a review. So they're incorporating writing into their classes that you wouldn't normally think writing would happen. One of our guitar teachers, she created this whole book, and the kids are like journaling about their guitar work. They're writing vocabulary words. And so how did we make that happen? Remember, our specialists are community-based instructors. Not always, teaching isn't always their first job. It's just they're coming in to share something they're passionate about. So we did our Lid Day back in, Lid, don't say Lid, it's Learning Improvement Day. Back in September, we invited our specialists in, and we're starting to include them in our learning workshops and show them ways that they can incorporate things like writing into their classes. Even in a PE class, they're writing goals and things like that. So it's been fun to watch them find new ways to incorporate reading and writing and even math into other areas. So we've also created some workshops, and this is something we've been doing the last couple of years, our parent workshops, where we're giving parents some new tools to put in their teaching toolbox to use at home. Because often, if writing isn't your favorite thing, and how do you teach that to your kiddo without having those tools? So we've invited parents in for different parent workshops where we're giving them those tools and how to teach writing and things like that. And then, of course, that staff professional development with our specialists. So those have been some ways that we are working to incorporate more of those academic pieces. So heater just coming on. I don't know why the heater needs to be on tonight though. All right, next one. And so just empowering that student achievement, like I said, the on-site classes. Another thing that we've done this year, our consultants during PLC have really focused on looking at all of our guided curriculum. Guided curriculum is what we offer to parents who are like, I'm not sure which curriculum I'd like for my students this year. Can you just make a recommendation? And so our consultants come together and they look at kind of the best of the best when it comes to curriculum. Stuff that parents have really enjoyed using, we've gotten some good feedback from students, and that we feel really hits those learning targets with standards. And so they've taken the time this year to go through each subject and look and update our guided learning. So that'll be something that we're offering for families next year is a new updated version of guided learning. And then of course, like Eva was talking about, our special activities where we added in that writing component. Yep, you can decorate a pumpkin, and it's a historical figure this year, but you also have to write about it. We thought we would have a decline, and we were so excited to see, nope, we doubled our participation, so that was really exciting. And then of course, those parent workshops. All right, next one. This is just some feedback from one of the moms that attended one of our parent workshops. And she said she attended the one on the Smarter Balance assessment testing. Because, sometimes as parents that are homeschooling our kids, we're kind of like, oh, what does this test look like? And that kind of creates some anxiety at home. Oh, my kids have to come and take this test. And so why not show them, hey, here's some tools that you can use with your kiddos when you're working at home with them to kind of lessen some of that test anxiety. We showed them some of the practice tests and those resources that are available to them. And so this mom just said it really helped me to understand how to prepare my child for that testing, and so that he can be more confident going into it. I especially benefited from learning the academic vocabulary used on the test, and have been able to apply those to our everyday lessons at home. So that was great feedback from that parent.
So we're going to move on to the consent agenda. Has everybody had a chance to review the consent agenda?
I move to approve as amended, taking out 4210.
Okay, discussion?
I have some discussion on the minutes. The 23 March. So when I reviewed the 23 March, I was trying to find where we had the majority of our discussion. And most of it was presentations by the staff at the elementary school. As I read each one of these, it does not give any highlights as to what they talked about and their successes. So Steve had talked about the laptop debts that we've had. And they were, I thought, significant enough that he brought it up. But that's not recorded in these minutes. And so I think we do a disservice by not recording things that I think the public would not want to know about. Also, I thought Principal Fining and the Vice Principal Max Maxfield did a great job talking about their successes, and I don't see that recorded in this report. So again, I go to move to the board that I have highlighted that our staff continue to do exceptional work across the district, and it does not get recorded here. And I'm disappointed, and I see at the end of this report that our recording can be found on the district page. That's only good for a year, and then it's gone. So then, this is it. This is the only thing that lives beyond a year, and does not highlight our staff, the great work they're doing. I don't know why we can't have a paragraph that describes what they talked about and their successes. We do them a disservice. So that's why we will not approve the minutes until they're approved where they highlight that.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. We have discussed the minutes, and if Director Ashby continues to, if he can point out certain things that are wrong in the minutes, that would be great. But we have agreed and talked about, and it is illegal to change the minutes when we are at doing what we're supposed to be doing per state requirements.
Okay, Eric. But I, as part of the discussion, will allow them to speak, and I will continue to highlight the intricacies of our minutes. Let me now go to the 13 minutes. So we had lively discussion about bullying. I don't see that recorded in these minutes. We had, what, an hour and a half? And also, I talked about how I'm not happy with how we handle bullying in our district. Repeatedly. And my words are not recorded in these minutes. So again, we do a disservice to our constituents, our parents, our guardians, our district by not recording what is said in these minutes at a high level. Like you told me one day, we can't write a book. Sure, you cannot write a book. But one-line sentences do not record what was said.
We cannot get into debates about who said what or what was said in those minutes. That's why we're recording that, and if people want to look, that is the way for them to go back. So it cannot be a line item transcription. And if we do line item, unless we do line item transcriptions, my opinion that we have do a disservice to different people by not putting comments or by mistaking their comments in the minutes.
That's why we review it.
My question is, do you have an amendment prepared for the minutes written? If you have an amendment presented, we could discuss it. If not, we'll finish on the floor is how I see it.
Right, and I agree. And I've gone to great lengths to provide this board my inputs on various documents that we go through, and all of them are ignored. One question, let me finish.
Can I add something though?
But you didn't let me finish. I'm still in thought.
I'd like to
And
add
this is something that you and Eric do a lot. You cut me down in my conversation
No,
when I have the floor.
While you make the point, I'd like to add a point.
But did I finish the point I made?
Can we have a reasonable exchange on this?
Right, but I was
Just
answering
reading, there's a
what
motion
Rebecca
on the
just
floor.
asked. Again, now we're in
Right.
debate.
It's
You
not a
made a
debate.
point. I was,
I'd like to
Gonna
add,
add to the
I'd like
point.
to add a comment, Jerry, please.
but you didn't let me finish.
Well, but we
I
had
think
a point,
it'd be
we had a
proper.
point of order, which you didn't allow Eric to finish. So let's go back to
I
that.
did let Eric finish.
So going back to the point of
is-
order, Jerry. So one of the discussions that we've had about
these minutes is that ultimately, as a majority, the board has voted to uphold the Robert's Rules of Orders, which are demonstrated as follows in the way that these minutes have been recorded. And so the point of order is in reference to that specific motion. And you bring this up every single time. We have to remind you every time. And so-
The point of order, can I?
Yes, thank you. I want to bring that to your attention.
Okay, so point of order is when you are making mistakes within the Robert rules. So if we are in discussion.
This is not discussion.
Again, Eric, I had the floor. So point of order is if you're violating the Robert rules, if you're violating them in some way. If we are in discussion and I have the floor and I'm discussing it and I'm being talked over or interrupted, that's violating the Robert rules.
Well, if you
Where somebody
dominate
had
the
the floor.
discussion and don't allow other discussion, that's also a violation as well.
Okay, so in answering Rebecca's question is why don't I provide an input to the minutes? And my answer was, before I was interrupted, was that I have done that and many times, and one of the examples I'll give you is that we had the board operating principles, right? Well, correct? I spent 2 to 3 hours going through the entire document, fine tuning it, making it better. And we sat down in a working session, started going through it. And as soon as, Lindsay was helpful and helping with the discussion. As soon as we got to parts that Eric didn't like, we just shut it down. It was shut down. I mean, I've got it recorded. I can share the whole scene. So I spent a lot of time on it, but it didn't get any adequate concession because I had edited the document all the way through from
So are we
beginning,
talking
and
about-
we never.
Are we
so
talking about board minutes or are we talking about?
So I'm providing an example of why.
That's a totally different topic.
No,
Let's
no.
go back to the point of
The
order.
example is,
The
Rebecca
point of
says, why don't you
order-
provide edits to the minutes when I've already done it in other
Okay,
fashions?
so Jerry, you
And
have
I've
a
done
point
it
of
on
order.
the floor.
You're out of
Okay.
order. Let's move on. So any other comment on consent agenda? Okay. All in favor of passing consent agenda? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Opposed?
Okay, 4 to 1. Let's see. Yeah, let me borrow yours, mine. There you go. On without.
Items from the floor.
Just a clarification that the motion on the floor was with the amendment.
With the amendment, correct.
Thank you very much.
4210 being postponed. Okay, now we have time for items from the floor. So we have a few here to go over, 4 of them. Let me first, before we have items from the floor, read the public comment script. We welcome community input and we want to allow everybody to have a voice and to feel like they can express that voice here. As Alexis pointed out, we did have a community forum. This is something that we've been adding to our regular rotation as we have a community forum, roundtable. We invite the community in. We have an evening of conversation, dialogue back and forth. This, of course, following the Robert's Rules of Order, is much more structured. But the roundtables are intended to sit face to face, have real life human being conversations and discuss these things. But here at the board meeting, here's what we expect in terms of public comment. So now we have an opportunity to hear from the public. This is an opportunity for visitors to be recognized and make brief comments. I'd like to remind the board and our visitors that the public comment period is an opportunity for the board to listen to individuals on educational issues, and board members are encouraged to listen attentively. The board will not respond to questions or challenges made during the public comment period or engage in back and forth dialogue, except the board chair may ask a clarifying question. Please know that the board's silence is neutral and is not a signal of agreement or lack thereof with the speaker's remarks. So each speaker will have a maximum of 3 minutes, and I will set the timer on here. When you hear the buzzer go off, I don't expect you just to cut off mid-sentence, but please close out your comments once you hear that buzzer go off. And we have 4 people, so it's not going to exceed that 15-minute time period. And the board minutes will reflect what is written on these public comment forms? Okay, so let me set up my clock here and then I'll let Stu goes first. 3 minutes. Okay. So we're going to begin with Crystal Scott. The topic she wishes to address is HomeLink. So Crystal, if you'd like to stand, and
Yep.
I'll start the clock.
As soon as I start talking, okay.
Yeah, go ahead, as soon as you start talking.
I am here as a mother of a child who belongs in a marginal group. Children with disabilities who already struggle to find a voice in a world that is already socially not accepting. I spent a considerable amount of weight thinking about my position and you guys's. There is a historical leader that warns about if she remains silent, well, the people who are denied justice, her position would not be shielded, and she would have to deal with the fallout. She was told that if she didn't speak, relief would arise from elsewhere, but the failure to act would be hers alone. I believe that you guys are in position for such a time as this. To decide if the goal is to minimize accessibility or to fulfill a promise. Your own website defines your role very clearly. It states that it is not the job of the board to manage schools, but rather to oversee the schools are managed well. I'm here today because it feels like the school is not being managed well. For years, we have provided evidence that the district is denying legally required services at HomeLink, claiming civil rights are located based. Worse, the administrator has used official school records to misrepresent the parents. Even when we have asked for correction of these records, the administration has refused, choosing to maintain a false narrative instead of the truth. In response, we have begun platitudes and band-aids, polite meetings that never lead to actual compliancy. When you allow the administration to treat a systematic denial of rights with a minor procedural tweak, you are failing in your duties to oversight. You are allowing the district's operation outside of the law. The administration has taken unilateral measures to limit enrollment, bypassing parents, and ignoring legal requirements of prior written notices. We have heard from other parents throughout the HomeLink program asking how to get their kids help. We have seen a pattern where the group of students are ignored at HomeLink administration until a support-related issue arises, at which point the response is discipline rather than support. When you allow these tactics, you are failing in your duty of oversight and allowing administration to pull away services from the very children who need it the most. It is painful to see a district post on social media about supporting an autistic walk while simultaneously threatening those students with legal reinforcement for manifestations of their disability. You can't claim to celebrate a group in the public while your administrator intimidates them in private. These students don't need another Band-Aid or post for social media. They need the board to do the job. It defined for itself. Oversee these schools, follow the laws. Relief will come, the law will ensure that. But I am asking you to be the source of that relief. Don't give us more platitudes. Use your voice, fix the foundation in which it's still within your power to do so. I leave you with a statement. Speak up for those who can't speak for themselves. Stand up for what you know is right and judge all people fairly. Protect the rights of those who need help. Keep the promise you made to this community. Use your voice while you still have it to fix this.
Thank you. Ringtone was really quiet, I could even barely hear it. Okay. There we go, okay. Thank you for that. Next we have Richard Scott, and the topic he wishes to address is HomeLink SPED.
Members of the board, I'm here tonight to speak about the legal and factual obligations regarding special education within HomeLink ALE. First, let us establish the legal facts. Under law, WAC 392-550, ALE programs are public schools. Students enrolled in them retain all civil rights and educational rights. Federal law under IDEA, Section 504, and the Child Find mandate guarantees a free and appropriate public education that requires the district evaluate, with parental consent, every student who is thought to have a disability. By available enrollment numbers, it is my understanding that HomeLink is the second largest school in the district, yet it is the only school without dedicated full-time educational staff. Because of this discrepancy, families of children with a wide range of disabilities have been forced to transfer the students out of HomeLink just to receive the specially designed instruction the student needs and the district is legally required to provide within the ALE. When the HomeLink parents have requested evaluations for conditions like ADHD, autism, and dyslexia, they are frequently told to go to their primary care doctors instead. These facts prompt several critical questions. Does federal law allow a public school district to outsource its child find evaluation obligations to private medical doctors? The law says no. Must students surrender their right to special education to participate in an ALE? The law says no. Can a district legally justify a framework where students are forced to leave their chosen public ALE program simply to receive basic, legally mandated accommodations? The law says no. To the HomeLink families listening, I know many of us deeply value our independence in our homes and our children's education. Under federal law, special education is strictly consent-based process. You, the parent, are the ultimate authority. The district cannot evaluate your child or implement any services without your explicit written permission. Demanding your child's educational rights does not invite government overreach, rather it legally binds the government to support your choices for your child. Because the facts demonstrate a clear gap between legal requirements and the current administration practices, action is required. If your children or students are being denied evaluations, accommodations, or services within HomeLink, you have formal legal recourse. I strongly encourage you to file a due process hearing request, or a disability discrimination complaint, or a citizen complaint with the Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction. Filing a due process hearing request is a legal mechanism designed to protect our parental authority and your child's rights. It creates a public record, it triggers a formal timeline, and is the most effective way to ensure our district fulfills its obligation to provide equal access to education for every single student. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
How much time do I have left?
12 seconds if you want that.
Good job.
The gentleman forfeits his time. Thank you, Richard. All right, next we're going to have Waco Payne. The topic he wishes to address is bullying and decorum of the school board.
I'd like to inquire about what to do when either a student or parent brings their concerns to the district HIV coordinator, David Bentler, when they are immediately dismissed. Who is the alternative to talk to? What procedures can be put in place to ensure that HIV forms and blue slips are not disregarded? We have filled out 3 HIV forms and only received a clear response from one of them in writing with no proof of the others being submitted. The same goes for blue slips. They are written by students and passed off with no assurance that they will become part of a trackable formal process. I would suggest a multi-carbon copy form, which would allow a student to keep a physical copy to hand to parents to ensure that they have been taken seriously. Next would be what can be done with a no contact order that has been signed by the doctor and her abuser and is continuously broken by both inside and outside of school. Both the principal of DPMS and the vice principal, who is the HIV coordinator, have been made aware of this multiple times with no effective action taken. My next disturbing topic concerns the decorum of the school board and administration. There have been multiple social media posts from both my wife Amanda and I, which everyone here is aware of by now, that have uncovered a plethora of other parents with similar issues, many more severe, and many parents reaching out to us directly with horrific stories. In public comments, there was one parent whose student said that she was being bullied and the school wasn't taking action, to the point her daughter said that she would rather kill herself than to go to school. The board's response, when it came up, you, Craig Phillips, said some of these so-called adults would borderline between bullying and bullying themselves. You discuss this further referencing the community and, without pointing fingers, people in the room. There were very few people in the room. My wife and I are proponents of these posts, and only one of your board was truly vocal about their genuine concerns. As my shirt says, bullying is not parents protecting hurt children. Why is it brought up that HomeLink would be a great option for my daughter Riley, who's being bullied, but ironically, it was stated those who can't figure it out go to all school, go to contract, and go to online. How dare you? How can you, Eric, state that you absolutely can categorize all the community, all your constituents in the second-class group of bullies? My involvement started with my daughter Riley being continuously bullied without bullying. Her education has been affected, her mental health has been affected, her safety is in jeopardy. This has been going on for 8 months, with the school being informed via email since the beginning, which was September 3rd, when the school disregarded our daughter, we voiced our cries publicly. In turn, we found out not only does the school not protect children, but the board calls us as parents bullies. And now I find out that in minutes, this happened at the school board on 4/13. It's not even recorded. How dare you? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Jesse Kelso, and the topic I'd like to discuss is disc golf course update, thank you, and invite to our grand opening.
Hi. If you don't know, we have in the last 6 months put in a fantastic disc golf course on the property behind the high school. My husband is the president of the disc golf club here in Deer Park, and such a great group of guys who have worked really hard and poured so much time and love into seeing this project be completed. We are to the point where things are looking good enough to welcome everybody out for like a grand opening event. So that is going to be Saturday, May 9th, Mother's Day weekend. We are gonna do noon and grill some hot dogs and show people around, celebrate our sponsors, and we still have a lot that we are working to just see happen. Lots of dreams for just how we can continue to make that space just really accessible for all levels, getting people to do some outdoor recreation, maybe someday seeing that the high school uses that course for some PE curriculum, lots of different things like that. But we're gonna celebrate. Tee pads are in. There's 23 of them on the main course. There's pro and amateur layout. And then we have 9 of our 18 baskets of our pitch and putt. And we're super excited. We're still fundraising and working on that course, but it is a playable 9. And we just are really grateful that you guys allowed us to use that space. And I'm proud of the guys and what they've built. And that course has already seen over 12,000 games played.
Wow.
We've had, like, people are just raving that it's one of the best courses in all of the Spokane area. Just thousands of outdoor recreation hours logged. So pretty cool that we can kind of see that. And people started playing it before it was even really ready fully. And again, it's just getting better and better. So the official sign got posted just in the last couple of days, and the map's going up, like kiosk is happening, all the final little touches. So yeah, please come join us if you guys don't have plans. Again, Saturday, May 9th at noon. We'll grill some hot dogs and feed everybody. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's it for public comment today. Thank you all for sharing. We're going to move on to action items. So we have some policies for first read, 4,000 public information program first read, 4218 language access plan first read, 4260 use of school facilities first read, and 4265 community education program first read.
I move to approve all first read. Move forward with first read.
Okay, all in favor of, discussion. Discussion, please.
On the school use of facilities, it's crossed out if providing insurance coverage creates an undue hardship. A group may request the superintendent to consider a waiver for the insurance requirement. Why do we have to take that out?
This is what was recommended by WASA, so if we don't want to, we don't have to.
I would like us not to. Our community sometimes can't afford to get insurance. it's a big lift for, especially for families who have any sport to fulfill that. So to have that opportunity to petition you, I
This
would
is
like that.
school use facility, so are we talking about outside entities in
Right.
groups? But we
Or-
talking about,
Little League, basketball, anything that uses our facilities.
so we have not waived any insurance used for outside entities for liability reasons. We don't pay with insurance that's non-advised for liability.
It's unfortunate.
I don't let the board decide, I don't know that it would be advisable. Our insurance rates have gone up from what, 300,000 to almost $1 million a year. And so should we take out something like that, I don't know what insurance would say.
Can you talk to Clarisk and ask them? And maybe, cause I'm not even sure we'd be able to get insurance if we did something, if we had.
Well, we
There's a
have,
big difference between like church groups using it or community groups or wrestling or football or basketball. And if somebody gets hurt in there, unfortunately in today's society, the deep pockets are.
Lindsay, which one was that again?
4260.
I agree with you, Linz, I just wanna.
4260?
It's like the second paragraph is struck out.
it's,
Struck out.
And you know the WASDA model policy, so I can double check with that, but I am worried about what clear risk would say.
It would be interesting to also know how many have been requested.
It's required, so we don't.
Right. So those that don't have one just don't, yeah, get the facility.
That has been a barrier, and that's part of why we're working with the community to say, so if we were to go out for a bond for a new elementary school, is there a possibility we could build it a little bit larger and have it run for and by like the Y, right? So for that particular space to be used by and for the community, but it wouldn't necessarily be on the school district to have that.
Carry the insurance.
Carry the insurance, and maybe the Y would have some kind of an umbrella insurance or something. Trying to think out, out and beyond how we can make that possible for our community, because that is a barrier, I think, for some. Not necessarily like the youth sports, like SYSA, Little League, or
not
outside,
the big
but-
ones.
Not the big ones, but.
Is there a way
We
to
haven't had
share that insurance load or share that coverage? Like if we were to go into partnership with the city, with YMCA, something like that?
Potential, yes, which is part of probably how Spokane is able to do it, they're working through some of those right now and building those memorandum of understanding. But right now, yeah, it's a little bit tricky. We would like to be able to share it, but they do have to show proof of liability. I think it's up to $1 million. They have to have an insurance policy.
Okay. Can you look into that for us? Any other discussion?
I've got comments or questions on the public information program. The one red line here is the superintendent or designee is added as an edit. Who is that designee? Why is that added?
It's kind of standard, it's always good to have 2 or 3 deep, actually, in the event something happens.
Is that our HR director? Is that the assistant superintendent?
It depends on what the policy is, and this one's public information program, right? So it would probably be in this case, the assistant superintendent, yes.
It leaves it open-ended. I'm not sure I like the open-ended. You're in charge of the program. And or designee, is that just seems to make it open-ended.
I think it
When
gives her
it's-
the opportunity to talk about, like if she can't make it to a meeting, is that kind of what?
Well, and I think it's also if I'm out, or like, for example, for the discipline policies and procedures, they all say superintendent or designee, which gives the authority to the principals and assistant principals to be able to administer discipline. Right? It's just having a backup. I think most of the policies and procedures don't depend on one individual.
Well, what you can say?
If you don't mind, so the last paragraph where it says an annual district report addressing activities of the district and administrative recommendations for improvements. student learning and district operation will be prepared by the superintendent or designee and presented to the board as soon as possible. And so that's where I was feeling like it was comfortable enough because it might be that admin.
If it said your assistant superintendent, that'd be okay. But at that level, because you're designated as the public affairs officer from the state of Washington, correct? You're the main person.
Correct.
Then that's your responsibility, that or your assistant superintendent. That's
But in the
what it should
case
say.
that Rebecca just read, that is prepared by the principal at the high school.
So is the concept
It
here?
might depend depending on what the situation or context is. Right?
So is the concept here sort of like ambassador? They would sort of operate as an ambassador to the superintendent,
Correct, or I would delegate to.
but not technically like a vice, to Jerry's point, a vice
Right, it
superintendent.
wouldn't necessarily always be the assistant superintendent. In some cases, it could be the principal at the high school. In some cases, it could be Gretchen, the principal at HomeLink. In some cases, it could be, the compliance officer. Sometimes a compliance officer for Title IX is Cam Gilbert. It could be, it just depends on who is the identified individual.
Yeah, because I can wrap my mind around like a representative or ambassador type idea. They're essentially just filling in your space, communicating
Correct.
what you want, what you're delegating for them to communicate. So it's like an extension of you and not an entirely different position.
So like in May, Troy will come with the course catalog. Anya will come with the social studies curriculum review and adoption component. So it says the superintendent will, but I have folks designated to do those particular jobs and hold those responsibilities.
Okay.
Or designee is broad.
Does that make sense, Jerry?
Yeah, I
It just
still
depends.
don't have a heartache with the designee. It leaves it open-ended when the responsibility belongs with the superintendent. I can see the assistant superintendent being the other person called out in the policy. But there shouldn't be a principal who's running that program. He's doing it on behalf of the superintendent or the assistant superintendent.
Jerry, can you do me a favor and read me the whole sentence?
The superintendent or the designee was the ad, will establish and maintain a communication process within the school system and between it and the community. Such a public information program will provide for a district annual report, news releases and appropriate times, news media coverage of district programs and events, or regular direct communication between individual schools and the community members they serve. The public information program will also assist the staff in improving their skill and understanding and the communicating with the public.
In that paragraph, I would be comfortable with assistant superintendent.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
We also, but if you look at there, it says the public, between and events and regular district communication between individual schools and the community members. And I think of Gretchen's HomeLink thing every week. So are we saying she can't do that by not letting Alexa designate or give her authority to do that?
That's a good point.
If so, and the high school does the same thing with different newsletters or different
Right,
things that come
this is
out.
talking about the overall public information program, like when people want public records requests, this is what it oversees. So.
And Jerry, what policy was that?
This is the 4,000.
1,000. And so the other ones would be acceptable, like this one down here, when we talked about this paragraph, it doesn't is acceptable, the bottom one. Because that one gets into a little bit more specifics of like prevention or trolling.
Right.
So that's, so really it's what I'm hearing, the amendment would be just that second paragraph.
We just need to be careful on that the role belongs to the superintendent, and then
I
you
see
have
what
your
you're saying.
backup.
In this particular district, yes, that I think is applicable.
Yeah.
Because there's not a team of communication.
Well, and you don't have an assistant superintendent, but technically correct.
I do it, Suzanne.
Is that her title, her official title?
Yeah.
Okay.
Part of it. She's got a couple of departments under her.
Yeah, I know she's like in charge of a lot of different things, but, okay.
I'm
Okay.
fine with that.
Good.
Edit.
Okay, I have some questions on policy 4218. This is the language access, and it was language access plan. The plan was crossed out. But as I read through the paragraphs, it calls out plan. That the district will develop it as an edit. I'm just gonna skip it. It is crucial that the district seek to address language barriers and to do so free of charge. To that end, and required by law, and then the board of directors was crossed out, the district will develop and adopt a plan for implementing and maintaining a language access program that is culturally responsive. So, if we're gonna delete the plan, just leaving the title language access does not describe what that policy is covering. So, I don't know if it's,
I'm fine
there's
with
another
the word plan in
name,
there.
it's not,
It's, and again, it was just recommended, if you wanna leave the word plan, I can leave the word plan.
if we talk about it within the paragraphs that are edited, then I think we should.
The district will create a plan, which we have for our students who receive MLL services, which are sub 20.
Did we get the sub-bullets from other school districts? There's these 4 bullets that were added: accessibility and equality, or equity, accountability and transparency, responsive culture, and focus on relationships. Were those added from other districts that have that language?
WAS's model policy.
Okay. And then, as I was reading the oral interpretation, I read that paragraph like 5 times and it tripped me up. I couldn't, so let me read it out loud and maybe. The district will take responsible steps to provide, and they took out LEP, and crossed that out and says, parents, family members with limited English proficiency with competent oral interpretation of materials of information about any program, service, and activity provided to the parents who do not have limited English proficiency, and to facilitate any interaction with the district staff significant to the student's education. So as I read that, it was like, we're going to do things, but we're not gonna do it because we don't know, it just didn't make sense to me. Because parents who do not have limited English proficiency is like in the same sentence. Does that make sense?
You're right, it's a lot of words.
It's a lot of words, but it says we will, but we're not gonna do anything because we provide it to parents who do not have limited English proficiency. So it's like it.
To provide clarity around that.
Yeah, it tripped me up and I couldn't.
Maybe we'll run that through the AI mill and see if it can come up with something better.
Yeah, maybe it'll, yeah. I think, because when you look at the paragraph above, it clearly says that we're gonna do something. We're gonna take care of parents who, and it says right there, we're gonna take care of parents who have limited English proficiency. So,
That's kind of the gist of the whole sentence, right, that we want
right,
to
that's it,
support.
we're gonna do that. But then that second paragraph,
I wonder if just taking out the whole second paragraph.
maybe, I don't know.
If
Or
you have
taking
thoughts,
parts of
let
it
me
and
know.
put it in the first, I don't know.
Yeah, it could be cleaner.
I've got one now that I said already to approve these, and I cut one too. Okay, so if we go back up to right after the 4 bullets, we have in red, the district will implement its language access program by the 2023-2024 school year. So that either was already in there, it needs to be struck out and revise it,
Or
just take it out.
or take
Or
it
taken
out.
out, yeah, it should be taken out, because
Yeah,
it's
so you
already been.
You don't
published.
tie your policies to a
Oops.
date.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Yeah.
It was probably put in there long.
That's a good catch.
well, I should have caught it my first time I read it.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, anything else?
I will get those revisions to you.
Okay, so, what's that?
We gotta vote.
So all in favor of moving forward to second read with revisions, say aye.
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 Aye. Pass unanimous?
Can I repeat what I have?
Please.
Okay, so I'm gonna run 4260 school use facilities by our insurance and by WASDA. I'm gonna double check those. I'm gonna edit 4,000, which is the public information program, to include instead of designee or assistant superintendent. I'm gonna look at 4218 and for language access, add the word plan back since it's about a plan, and then look at clarifying the oral interpretation. And clarifying that sentence, and then take out the 23-24 school year.
And just for clarification, if you don't mind, yeah, review the designee, because it may just be that first paragraph, not all.
That's what I mean, just that first
Okay.
paragraph.
We'll
right?
review all of that.
Okay.
At least the first.
We'll get those edits to you.
All clear?
Thank you.
Good, thanks, guys. Second and last action item, to approve the highly capable plan.
Move to approve.
Okay, we move to approve. Discussion? Okay, no discussion. All in favor to approve highly capable plan, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous? Right? Yeah, Rebecca?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear your voice.
It was a great
Okay,
presentation.
unanimous. All right, and with that, that's all we have on today's business. Thank you all for coming. Meeting is adjourned. Special thanks to Home Wing.
Thank you.
You're great hosts. Appreciate it.